Good morning, everyone. I'm Martin Wenzel. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator and our World Tour Flight 267, I believe. 207. And I forgot to do two things here. One second. Oh. I just want to make sure we can get the chats popping up on the screen. Everyone, if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube. All right. Can't hear anything. There we go. All right, so it is just after 6 Zulu time, 6:01 Zulu time in Sim. I think that's about 3 o'clock local time here in Narita, Japan, just outside Tokyo. We're at Narita International Airport, and we're gonna be flying over to Chinggis Khaan International Airport in or near Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, on MIAT, Mongolian Airlines. Flight 502 in the Boeing 737-800 for PMDG simulations. For our World Tour flight, 267. Yep. All right. So we got things going. Passengers are starting to board, so let's actually get GSX to do that. Well.
Boarding requested.
All right. So a little bit of an issue. Oh, I didn't set up my payload though. Oh, that should be fine. Cool. Had a little bit of issue trying to get FS HUD ATC working. It doesn't recognize our arrival airport, so we're actually going to ZMUB, according to that. I believe is the other airport for Ulaanbaatar. Alright, 159 passengers, so we only need 9. We'll go full economy. Oh no, 11. 11 in first class. 11 in first class. There we go. Alright, I'll also get the rest of our payload going here. The cargo. Why?
Passengers boarding started.
Alright, 1500, and then what would that be? Completely blanking out here how to do math. There we go. Alright. And our fuel today, so why is it in pounds? I don't know. It likes to do that. Really annoying.
Go ahead. Hi there, just to let you know that we've started building the aircraft. We'll let you know as soon as it's completed. Roger. Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Hi Captain, just to let you know that the aircraft is now fueled as requested. Roger. Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Hi there, we're now refueling the aircraft and we'll let you know once it's completed. Roger. Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Hi Captain, fueling has been completed. Roger.
They're gonna keep telling me that the fueling is done, but it's like, not yet. Just calm down on that. Alright. Now we are ready to go. Back front. Okay. Sometimes. Alright, so let's get things set up in this plane. We got all the passengers starting to come on and barely set up. Alright, we do have ground power, so let's get the APU going. We'll let the ground crew know we're gonna start the APU.
Go ahead. Stand by for ground power disconnection. We're starting the APU now. Roger. We'll monitor the startup from down here and let you know if we see anything untoward. Roger.
All looks good there. Let's go up top and get our IRS aligning. Airspeed warning test, stall test, flaps test. Alright, I don't know why our frame rate is so low, but it is. Alright, so our airport today, we're coming out of Narita. So we want Romeo, Juliet, Alpha Alpha, 867. Copy that down. Back up top. Nav and nav. Feels like I'm at New York or something, my frame rate. I don't know what's going on lately. And we're going to Zulu, Mike, Charlie, Kilo. Flight number, Mike Golf, Lima, Mongolian Air 502. Get our flight clearance.
Narita clearance, Juliet Uniform 1015, gate 67, request clearance to BNG car with information echo. Juliet Uniform 1015, cleared.
Hi there, just to let you know that we've started moving the aircraft. We'll let you know as soon as it's completed.
4000, then is
Roger.
Squawk 6454. Cleared to BNG car via Saka 5, departure, runway 16 right, initial climb 4000, then is filed, score 6454, Juliet Uniform 1015. Juliet Uniform 1015, redback correct, when ready, contact Narita ground, 121.905. 121.95, Juliet Uniform 1015.
It would be nice to have this all just to be able to pull in from the A cars. Right from SimBrief into the computer, but we're gonna have to do it all. We got a little bit different here, not Tetra, but the rest is gonna be the same. So NPAR, direct to NPAR. Yankee 16. I'm having a hard time clicking today. Vapra. Yankee 685. Echo Limo. Oh, Lima. Yankee 697. Gavo. Direct to IKEA. Or Ikeka. Rather. Whiskey 4. Hotel Charlie Hotel. Doviv. Whiskey 55. Charlie Golf. Direct to Ladix. Bravo 339. Villa. Alpha 575. Aniku. And then we're just going to have to go off on our own here. Direct to Torov. And then we're just going to follow what we have in SimBrief because FSI ATC doesn't recognize the new airport, I guess. And so it's not going to give us the approach in to there. So we're going to have to do everything just ourselves. Torov, activate, execute, departure arrival. We are departing runway 16 right. And we got the Sector 5 departure. Navgrass and head in. Add to route. Transition should be NPAR. Yep, it is. Cute. The legs. And looks fine. Get our roof init page finished up. So our reserve fuel today, 3.5. Cost index of 80. Cruise 320. Our wind 276.29 knots. And our top of climb temperature is negative 30 degrees Celsius. Transition altitude out of here, 14,000 feet. That, go to N1. Our performance calculator. Runs 16 right. We got winds 173 knots. Headwind knots. Calculate. Alright, so 26K takeoff. Well, that stays the same. Go to takeoff page, flaps 5. Stage, runway, wind 170 at knots.
Ground 2 cockpit.
We have dry
Go
runway.
ahead. Hi, Captain. Building has been completed. Roger.
V speeds V1 149, VR 149, and V2 157. A little bit different than about the same as what we got in the calculator. So it looks good. Plenty of runway to spare too.
057, cleared to Romeo Papa Lima Lima by Papa India Golf to Kilo 2, departure, runway 16 right, initial climb 4,000, then is 5.
Cebu Air making a move. Alright, I think. Take off. Good. Got our initial climb to 4,000. Plug that in. The altitude 4,000. At 4,000 heading for the runway 16 right. 157. To 157. Plus 10, so we go 167 for that. Flight directors both on. Alright, so I didn't do all the, the different checks here, our fire tests and stuff. We'll do that right now. Make sure everything's working, just in case. We've had a few issues on some of our flights lately. We want to make sure. Gas test.
TCAS test pass.
Alright, perfect. And up top, yaw damper, flight controls covered, spoilers covered, alternate flaps covered, navigation normal, normal, normal. Displays, auto, normal, engine valve closed, spar valve closed, lights are dimmed, fuel pumps on. We do have APU, which we've actually gotten our this going.
Hello.
Hi there, Captain. All of the passengers are now on board.
We're just awaiting the load sheet from ground. As soon as we have it, feel free to close the doors.
No problem. I'll bring it to you as soon as they send it up. You still have time to do the welcome announcement. That should pass some of the time.
Good afternoon from the cockpit. This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you on board this afternoon as we fly to Ulaanbaatar, Sergelen. We're currently preparing for departure up here in the cockpit, and once we're airborne, we'll be climbing to our cruise level of 32,000 feet. We're not anticipating any delays, so we hope to be underway very shortly. Once we push back from the stand, the cabin crew will start securing the cabin. As we head to the departure runway, please make sure you're seated and secured as they make their way around the aircraft. The weather is looking good, so it should be a nice, comfortable climb up to our cruise level. Once we're airborne, there shouldn't be any issue during our climb. It's a pretty straightforward departure out of the airport, so nothing to worry about there. It looks as though the en route winds are in our favor, so there shouldn't be any issue getting to our destination on time. However, we will keep you informed throughout the flight if it changes. The ground crew have finished loading the aircraft, so if you could get yourself seated and secured, we'll be able to get going straight away. Thank you very much for flying with us, and I hope you enjoy the flight.
Alright, just waiting on the loading to finish, about a minute with that. Having the fuel truck away as well. I didn't notice it before. Yeah, it kind of looks Asian. I know that was part of it, but I haven't noticed it too much. Kind of in a mix. Where we go.
Loading has been completed. We're sending the load ship up to you now. We're waiting for you to close up. Once the beacon light is switched on, we'll contact you to begin pushback. Roger. Cockpit to ground. Hello.
Hi, Captain. Okay, here's the load sheet from ground. I've written the passenger count here, the crew count here, and the total number of souls, not including yourselves, here.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, looks like we're all set to go whenever you're ready.
Alright, you can close the doors whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll let the crew know and we'll get closed up as soon as we can.
Go ahead.
Always good to see other planes around. Exactly what we're looking for. Alright, we are going to push back to the... Our tail is facing to the right.
We won't require pushback today, so feel free to get disconnected whenever you're ready. Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Just a reminder, if you're using software to track your virtual airline flights, you might want to...
Alright, I'm going to turn off. I'm going to have Sergelen car just disconnect right now. Get
Thanks for the
confused
help.
with the pushback.
Pin straight ahead and we'll see you next time.
Alright. Parking brake
Just a
released.
reminder, if you're using software to track your virtual airline flights, you might want to start it now if you haven't already. Cabin crew, please arm doors.
Beginning pushback. Left and right pack off. Starting engine 2. Okay, so we got start valve open, low oil pressure. Engine 1, we're looking for 25% here.
Хүндэт зорчигчдоо MIAT компани Boeing 767-300 агаарын хөлөгт давтаа нөлөөлнө. Та бүхнийг хідэн хором аюулгүй ажиллагааны мэдээлэлд анхаарлаа хандуулахыг хүсье.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board MIAT Mongolian Airlines Boeing 767-300 aircraft. Please pay attention for a few minutes for safety information.
Та бүхэн гадуур хөвцөс гар тийшээ суудлын дээрх тэшний тавил хүнд эзэгсээ өмнөх суудлынхаа доор байрлуулна. Бүхэгийн гол зам ослын гарцны дэргэд болон та бүхний хөл орчимд эд зүйлс сул байж болохыг анхааруулна.
Please stow your carry-on luggage in the overhead bins. Heavy articles must be under the seat in front of you. Exit areas, aisles, and floor space around your feet must be kept clear of baggage at all times.
Таны аюулгүй байдал тав тухыг хангах үүднээс агаарын хөлгийн бүхээл, ялангуяа ариун цэврийн өрөөнд нислэгийн туршид утаад болон электрон тамхи татахыг хуулиар хоригддог болохыг сануулъя.
For your safety and comfort, we operate non-smoking flights. Smoking cigarettes or e-cigarettes anywhere on board, including within the lavatories, is strictly prohibited by the law.
Аюулгүй ажиллагааг хангах үүднээс гар утгах, бусад гадрон дамжуулагч болон хүлээн авахч зөөврийн жижиг бүхэн хэсгүүд одооноос нислэгийн оронд шийдэгдэнэ. Зөөврийн компьютер зэрэг том агуулгын захиалгаас мөнгөнчлөн хувийн хэрэглээний чиглэлээр агаарын хөлөг буухад ашиглахгүй байхыг сануулъя.
For safety reasons, with the exception of handheld personal electronic devices in flight safe mode, the use of electronic devices and personal headphones is not allowed during takeoff and landing. These devices must remain turned off and stowed until you are advised by your cabin crew.
Агаарын хөлөг хөөрч буух, мөн суудлын бүсний гэрлэн дохио ассан үед
Starting engine 1.
суудлын бүсээ хийцгэнэ. Суудлын бүсийг тайлахдаа дээд хавхлагыг өргөнө. Та бүхний сууж байхдаа болон унтаж байх хугацаанд суудлын бүсээ тогтмол ил харагдах зүүж өөрийн аюулгүй байдал тав тухай хангахыг хүсье.
Please fasten your seatbelt for takeoff and landing, and whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. To unfasten the seatbelt, lift the flap and pull the ends apart. If you plan to sleep during the flight, please make sure your seatbelt is fastened and visible.
Хөлгийн бүхээг төчил дөрөгчийн хэвийн хэмжээ алдагдсан. Хүчил дөрөгчийн баг таны дээрээс бууж ирнэ. Энэ үед та багийг өөр рүүгээ татаад ам хамрын гадуур зууж өөртөө тохируулж чадлаа. Хэвийн амьсгална. Багийг өөртөө гүйцэтгүүлсний дараа зэрэгэлдэх бусад хүнд тусална.
Should there be a rapid change in cabin pressure, oxygen masks will appear in front of you. Pull the mask towards you to activate the oxygen supply. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, adjust the elastic band to secure it, and breathe normally. When your mask is fitted correctly, you may assist others.
Ослын буултын үнэтэй дэлгэцээр үзүүлж байгаачлан дөрвөлтөөс хамгаалах байдлыг авч дөрвөлтөөс хамгаална.
In case of an emergency landing, please take the brace position as shown on the screen.
Таны хантаад суудлын доор эсвэл суудлын тоховчон доор байрлах ба бид усан дээр ослын буулт хийхэд ашиглана.
Your life vest is either under your seat or under the armrest, and it must be used in the event of emergency water landing.
Багийн гишүүд хантаазаа өмсөх зааварчилгааг өгсөн тохиолдолд хантаазыг байгаа газраас нь авч суугаагаараа өмсөд бүсийг чанга буслана. Зөвхөн агаарын хөлгөөс яг гарахын өмнө аврах хантаазны доод хэсэгт байгаа Ulaanbaatarыг доош татаж хийлнэ. Гүйцэд хийлэгдээгүй тохиолдолд хантаазны дээд хэсэгт байх улаан цорго руу үлээж хийлнэ.
When instructed by your crew, remove it from its container and pull it over your head while seated. Bring the tape around your waist and fasten in front. Pull the loose end to secure. Only inflate your life vest as you are leaving the aircraft by pulling the red toggle sharply downwards. You can also inflate the life vest by blowing into the mouthpiece. Infant life vest will be distributed by the cabin crew when needed.
Одоо та бүхэн өөрийн судлалд ойр байрлах аврах гарцын байршлыг тогтоож авна. Энэ агаарын хөлгийн аврах гарц нь дэлгэцээр үзүүлж байгаачлан урд дунд хойд хэсгүүдэд байрлах ба гарц бүр тусгайлан тэмдэглэгдсэн байгаа.
Alright, I have to start checklist. Generators on, probe heat on, anti-ice off, isolation valve auto.
Hello.
The emergency exit nearest to your seat. The emergency exits are clearly marked and the locations are as shown on the screen. Escape path lighting will
Park
lead
switch
you
is
to the
continuous.
emergency
We're
exit.
almost ready, so you can take your seats now.
No problem.
Recall checked, auto brake, checked takeoff RTO, flight controls checked, ground equipment
Each
cleared,
exit
we have
door
taxi
is equipped
clearance.
with emergency escape slides. In case of emergency landing
There
on
are
water,
flaps to-
these slides will be used as rafts.
What?
Олон
5.
улсын иргэний нисхийн хууль дүрмийн дагуу зорчигчид нь
Five.
анхааруулах гэрлэн дотоо зурагт хуудас болон багийн гишүүдийн зааварчилгааг дагж мөрдөх үүрэгтэй.
International civil aviation
and taxi.
regulations require that all passengers comply with the illuminated information signs,
Alright, so we're gonna
posted
taxi out here
placards,
and turn
instruction
right
of the crew.
onto Tango.
Та бүхэн энэ талаарх дэлгэрэнгүй мэдээлэлтэй таны урд суудлын халаас нь байх аюулгүй зааварчилгааны хуудастай агаарын хөлөг хөрөхөөс өмнө тодорхой танилцсан.
For detailed information on our cabin safety briefing, please read and review the safety information card located in your seat pocket in front of you.
Та бүхэн хөөрхөд суудлын бичлэгээ хийж хэрэг явах цонхны хаалт суудлын бүсийн бүсийн
To prepare for takeoff, please put your seat back to the upright position. Stow away your tray table, open your window shades, and fasten your seatbelt. Thank you for your attention and enjoy your flight.
Request taxi. Lufthansa Cargo 8387 Heavy. Taxi to holding point runway 16 light 5 Whiskey. Whiskey 3 Alpha. Alpha 2. Taxi to holding point runway 16 right 5 Whiskey. Whiskey 3 Alpha. Alpha 2. Lufthansa Cargo 8387 Heavy.
Alright, taking Tango down to Romeo. They'll be turning left. Oh, rather right. Right, and then we'll go down to Whiskey 6 and hop over to Alpha. Take Alpha all the way down to Alpha 1 and the runway. I have to say, FS-HUD ATC has been operating the planes a lot better than in recent in the past month. It's been like this now, where planes seem to taxi better. They actually follow their instructions. It seems like there's a lot more actually going on at these airports. The traffic injection and FS-HUD is working really nice together. And then the planes are taking off and landing, and not just cruising over the ground at high speeds, but actually taking off and landing and doing go around and stuff. So it looks actually really good. Well, if you're looking for a solution and you just can't wait for Beyond ATC, FS-HUD is a good option. I would suggest waiting for Beyond. I'm not throwing any shade toward FS-HUD ATC, but since Beyond ATC is coming out, it's probably going to cost, what, $40. Might as well save the money on getting FS-HUD ATC and wait for Beyond ATC to come out this next year. They're going to have traffic injection and the control, you know, the controlling the stuff, and of course the better ATC, even better than this. So every once in a while, though, we get some issues where they have us taking off one runway and they're landing the opposite direction on the same runway, or they taxi a plane on the runway for some reason. It's not perfect. I don't think it ever will be with AI. Well, I think at some point it will be a lot better. It's just going to get better and better. But I'm really looking forward to Beyond ATC. Big thing I'm looking forward to is they talked about how now they're going to do the traffic injection. They're working with FSLT, like one of the guys from FSLTL, to pull that, you know, basically the traffic injection. That's how I'm getting all these planes into the sim, is through FSLTL. Pulls stuff from Flight Radar 24, plugs it into the sim, and then FS-HUD ATC takes over controlling the planes, moving them about the airport and in the air, giving them instructions and all that. Well, Beyond ATC is going to do that all in one self-contained program, and they're claiming that they're going to be able to do all that and not have as much of an impact on your frame rate. Beautiful takeoff there by Lufthansa. Lufthansa Heavy cargo. 8387 Heavy, that plane. Really nice to see. It's actually getting pretty fun, like lately with some of these airports we've been at. It's been pretty nice to actually be taxiing around because there's other planes taxiing and there's planes taking off, and so pretty enjoyable to see the planes. This star's now way behind us, so took a while to make his turns. Alright, coming up on Whiskey 6, the next left turn, hop over to Alpha and down to runway. We're headed into the cargo area on the Nippon Air cargo right in front of us. But like I said, I'm really looking forward to the traffic injection and all the stuff that Beyond ATC, if they can deliver on the promise with Beyond ATC, not just of having really good sounding ATC and a little bit more interactive, but also having a lighter weight traffic injection and control program. That's going to be, it's going to be a game changer. I think if they're able to achieve it, I think Beyond ATC is going to be well worth the $40 or whatever they charge. And it's going to blow out the competition. It's just going to destroy everything else. And I think it's like anything with like Alpha India Group traffic injection, kind of gone by the wayside. I don't know how many people are still using it. I still have a link for it. I don't know if you can even download it anymore, if it's defunct. There's part of I do kind of want to use it. I haven't gotten it set up again, but it would help when we're in different time zones. Because even live time flying. You're flying in the middle of the night, live time, you're probably not going to have as many planes. And especially if you want to switch it to daytime, and like we are right now, your airport's going to look pretty empty. Now, luckily, we do actually have a bunch going on. We got J Spring 840. I don't know what J Spring is. I don't think we went over far enough, to be honest. We went down the Romeo to Whiskey. We didn't get all the way over to Alpha. Read my map wrong. Now we're on Alpha. If we kept going straight, we would have been in a world of hurt. It's interesting, this entrance isn't even on the exit and entrance isn't even on the map. Not on the chart, but it is on the Navigraphs, like the map, not the chart itself. I don't know if that's new. Before takeoff checklist, flaps 5, green light, stabilizer trim, 5.51, checklist, turning at Alpha 2.
Juliet Uniform 1015, contact Narita Tower 118.2. 118.2, Juliet Uniform 1015. Narita Tower, Juliet Uniform 1015, runway 16 right, ready for departure.
Juliet Uniform 1015, line up runway 16 right.
Line up runway 16 right, Juliet Uniform 1015.
Clear right, clear left. Alright, so we're gonna have a long one. 16. Probably by the time we finish at 1,700 miles for our flight today.
Juliet Uniform 1015, wind 158 degrees.
Once we get in there, I'll kind of talk a little bit more on it.
Cleared for takeoff.
Runway 16 right, cleared for takeoff, Juliet Uniform 1015.
Positive rate of climb.
You're up.
Juliet Uniform 1015, contact Tokyo departure 127.5.
127.5, Juliet Uniform 1015. Tokyo departure, Juliet Uniform 1015, Saka 5, departure at 2,200, climbing 4,000. Juliet Uniform 1015, contact Tokyo Center,
Flaps up.
125.9. 125.9, Juliet Uniform 1015.
Cabin crew, resume duties.
Heavy. Air China 183, continue descent 3000. Continue descent 3000, Air China 183.
Autopilot engaged.
Tokyo Center, Juliet Uniform 1015, Saka 5, departure at 3,100, climbing 4,000. Japan Air 526, heavy, fly heading 315, cleared ILS, approach at 3,000, runway 16 right, report established on localizer.
Fly heading 315, cleared ILS, approach at 3,000,
Tokyo's over here on our right.
established on localizer, Japan Air 526, heavy.
Juliet Uniform 1015, radar contact, continue climb, flight level 330.
330.
Continue climb, flight level 330, Juliet Uniform 1015. On Nippon 476, heavy, turn left heading
Alright, well,
210.
plan for 320 and 330, so we'll adjust that.
On Nippon 558, heavy, turn right heading 155. Right heading 155, Nippon 558, heavy. Japan Air 138, heavy, continue descent 6,000.
Continue descent 6,000, Japan Air 138, heavy.
Japan Air 904, fly heading 250. Fly heading 250, Japan Air 904. 536, clear Bravo India, November, Kilo Sierra, November, arrival.
Clear Bravo India, November, Kilo Sierra, November, arrival, air pitch 536.
On Nippon 558, heavy, proceed direct now, descend 3,000. Proceed direct Nazi, descend 3,000, all Nippon 558, heavy. Air China 183, fly heading 250. Fly heading 250, Air China 183.
Japan Air 526, heavy, established on localizer.
Alright, so as we climb out, you can see
On Nippon
The time remaining, that will kind of adjust quickly. But yeah, you can see it's dipping quicker and quicker as we get.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your seatbelts fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each
do our
end of the
safety
cabin.
call out here.
Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes. In just a few moments, we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. All details can be found in your in-flight brochure. You can also purchase a selection of hot beverages together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly. Thank you.
Left heading 210, destination 904. Air 243, radar contact. Continue climb flight level on 50. Continue climb flight level on 50, Air 243. JetNav 904, fly heading 210, cleared ALS, approach at 3000, runway 16 right, report established on localizer. Fly heading 210, cleared ALS, approach at 3000, runway 16 right, report established on localizer, destination 904.
Runway 476, heavy, established on localizer.
JetNav 526, heavy, contact Tokyo Tower, 118.1.
118.1, JetNav 526, heavy.
On Nippon 476, heavy, continue approach.
Continue approach, runway 476, heavy.
Air China 183, turn left heading 210. Left heading 210, Air China 183. Tokyo Center, Japan 74, heavy, route is 2, departure at 3,600.
Alright, you can already see it's down to 4 hours, so I was planning on this taking like 6 hours or so. And the landing lights off.
Fly heading 210, cleared ALS, approach at 3000, runway 16 right, report established on localizer, Air China 183.
After takeoff checklist, engine bleeds on, packs, auto, landing gear up and off, flaps up, no lights. Checklist complete.
JetNav 74, heavy, radar contact, continue climb 6000, QNH 1017. Continue climb 6000, JetNav 74, heavy.
Alright, so if you guys stopped in last night, I was going to attempt to fly, I was attempting to fly from JFK, New York, JFK to Beijing capital in the Boeing 738 for Air China. That flight could have been anywhere between 13 to 16 hours flight time. And got everything going, got everything ready, pulled everything in from SimBrief into the FMC. No problem there, and for some reason it didn't want to take the flight plan from the FMC and actually put it up here and actually put it into the plane. I mean, it was here in the FMC, you could look at the legs and all that, but it would not work here. So if I set autopilot, it was basically useless. We were just going to fly in a straight line, whichever heading I set it on. And so I said, okay, well, enough of that, we're not going to do it. But I was going to attempt to fly overnight. The longest 748 flight I could find, actually. But it didn't work. I canceled that. But my plan was that we were probably going to come in here in the morning and still have a few hours to go, land in Beijing, and then start up this flight, and then probably let this flight run real time, and I'd go and do other things during the day. But now looking at this flight's probably going to take around, I'm all said and done, probably 4.5 hours to get back on the ground from where we're at now. And that means we'll be getting done around noon my time. I'll probably do some time acceleration, whether that's 2 times or 4 times, because my wife already has a plan. She's like, hey, we should go to the museum. I'm like, okay. Alright, so we are right now. Uh-oh. Everything kind of froze up for a second.
Qantas 62 heavy.
Is it running so poorly? I mean, I get we're flying over a city, but
Continue climb flight level 330.
it's not like I have some city pack or something, right?
Japan 266 heavy. Cleared rapid arrival.
Oh, okay, we are flying. We're kind of flying back into Tokyo. So
Air China 183.
oh, okay, I didn't even look and see where we're flying, but yeah, we're gonna, you know, right now you're looking out to our left towards Chiba.
Japan 138 heavy. Fly heading 250.
Fly heading 250.
Get a-
Japan 138 heavy.
My proper map
On 270 heavy. Cleared rapid arrival.
places.
Cleared back.
Looking down into Tokyo Bay right now, and into Tokyo. So that's why
On Nippon 270.
we're actually flying really close to the center of Tokyo. Pretty cool.
Descending maintain 9,000.
There you go. That.
270
That's why we're having good frame rates, because flying over the biggest city in the world, and man, it looks beautiful from up here, doesn't it? Love it.
Tokyo Central on Nippon 8489. Singapore departure at 3,600. Japan 628 cleared rapid arrival.
Charaya. Hello? Welcome in.
On Nippon 8489.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed when kind of planning out these flights that the flights were going to go into Narita and not into Haneda, because that'd be cool to do that approach or fly over Tokyo. But here we are flying over Tokyo. During the day we can see it would have been really nice flying over if we were coming in at night too. And you can see the downtown, the core right there. Just off our tail.
Japan 138 heavy. Turn left heading 210.
Left heading 210. Japan 138 heavy.
It's just amazing. I mean, it just goes forever.
Japan
City
138
after city,
heavy.
or
Turn left heading 210. Clear
no end in
LS.
sight.
Approach at 3,000. Runway 16 right. Report established on localizer.
Left heading 210. Cleared.
And it's not like I've not been to a city this big either, or, you know, big like this. I went to Shanghai regularly. I lived, you know, when I lived in China, I lived in Hangzhou, and for a number of years, and Hangzhou is 10 million people. And is most people don't know about it because it's not even one of the, I mean, it's, I think, probably the 9th, 10th biggest city in China. I mean, it's dwarfed by Shanghai. So everyone knows Shanghai, but just down, you know, a couple hours away is Hangzhou, and another 10 million people. And when I lived there, it didn't feel like that either. It just didn't, I guess it was, if you really thought about it, but it just fit. Oh. The nice thing is that Tokyo goes up really nice here in the sim. Unfortunately, Shanghai doesn't look as nice, or Hangzhou. Maybe from way up high, but definitely not low. You can see, yeah. So it's probably a good thing that we landed and took off out of Narita and not out of Haneda, because probably would have been a hard approach. Similar to our trying to move about and take off out of New York last night, it was pretty tricky. Beautiful.
Descending maintain 6,000. Japan 266 heavy.
Japan 638. Continue descent 3,000.
Continue descent 3,000. Japan 638.
And if I'm right about my mountains, that's Mount Fiji over there. Football fan, welcome in. Raya is from Thailand. Where are you from in Thailand? I wish I didn't pick up enough Thai when I was when we were there a few years back. What, 5 years ago now, we went to Thailand. I went to Koh Lipe, just off in on the west side of Thailand, off in the Indian Ocean, right near the Malaysian border. Oh, we flew into Bangkok. We flew into the we flew into the international airport, which is let me butcher the names. Phuket. Yeah, we didn't go to Phuket.
Continue descent 2000. Continue descent
Right.
2000 on Mhz 966 heavy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Phuket's pretty close. I mean, relatively close to where we were. We were in let's say it's part of. Is it part of Satun? Yeah. We were down in Satun, and then Koh Lipe is off in the Andaman Sea. Oh, to your south. We flew into Bangkok, flew into Suvar, Nabhumi International, and then we got to a hotel. I can't remember how we got to the hotel because it was a red-eye flight, so we must have taken a taxi, I'm guessing. And then from there, the next day we went up to Dang Muang, flew out on Hai Lion, took that down to airport. Here you go. Am I in the Satun? I don't think we flew into Satun. Yeah, we flew to Hat Yai International, and then we, from there, took a van through the countryside over to, I'm gonna say, kind of hard to remember because I didn't write it all down, but well, somewhere over there on the west coast, and then I took a speedboat out to kind of a speedboat ferry kind of thing out to Koh Lipe. Really fun. I'm hoping at some point we can go back and go to Phuket. Go see more of Thailand. Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh wow, we got Cristiano in here. Welcome in. Just departed Tokyo. See, it's still eating the frame rates as we fly into the Japanese countryside. Tokyo spreading out behind us. Beautiful departure out of Narita today. And how so? How can you be part of the video? What are you thinking?
Left heading 260, Skymark 024. Jackman 266, heavy, continue descent.
Well, you're a part of the video. You're part of the video by commenting and chatting, so go for it. I was just talking to Raya about Thailand because she's from Thailand, a beautiful country. I lived in China for 9 years and didn't do a ton of traveling. I mean, we did some traveling when we were in China. I mean, I started out in Beijing and then I lived down in the Shanghai, Hangzhou area for most of that 9 years. well, all that 9 years, but did go to Beijing a couple times. Started out in Beijing, so did all the Beijing stuff the first time, and then went there again with my parents. Yep, definitely got football fan up there. But yes, 9 years in China, and unfortunately, I kind of wish we had done some more travel, because when I was in China, had all kinds of time, not a lot of obligations outside of my job, but financial obligations, so there was more time and money to do things, and we only went to Thailand the last year, and kind of didn't take advantage of living over there in that area and be able to go to all the different places in the area. But in the future, my hope is to get back over there and go to Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, or China. Granted, I did sit in the airport in Incheon in South Korea, so I've been there technically. We got a lot of activity on the radio right now. Obviously, coming out of Tokyo, so we got a lot of planes coming in. Singapore, All Nippon, Japan Air. Slowly climbing up to flight level 330, 33,000 feet. Actually, forgot to switch ourselves to our standard pressure.
Continue descent 6,000, all Nippon 270 heavy.
Alright, while we're on our climb out, we're doing really good. I'm going to put in the landing elevation for Chinggis Khaan in Mongolia. It's going to be quite different from where we're at now. So do it before we get too far along, and we're waiting. Could I win the next World Cup? Well, I don't really have control over that. This is probably the highest elevation I've put in while we're flying in the 737, which is very easy to do in this plane. I've actually flown at higher elevations in the CRJ, and that's kind of a pain in the butt to set that elevation. Alright, so we got our landing elevation, 4,485 feet for Chinggis Khaan in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. We're planning on runway 11. We got 11,811 feet, 3,600 meter runway up there, and we'll be arriving in about 3.5 hours? 3.5 hours or so. And I'm debating if I'm going to just let it run in real time, or if we'll do a little time acceleration. We'll see. Probably do some time acceleration when we're over the water at least.
Left heading 300, all Nippon 966, heavy.
Velocity 78, radar contact. Continue climb 6.
Now the thing about, the big thing with Japan, I don't know if it's because it's so mountainous, it has so many distinct mountains, is that if you look at the map, I'm looking at Valanta and looking at the kind of the map from Mapbox, and it's just all Mount Utsugi, Mount Kusumu, Mount, and it's like, okay, I can't even tell what cities are what, because it's all just mounts. I think right down there is Komagane, butchering the Japanese, I know. That's what's down there. I love this landscape though. And again, it reminds me, I mean, where I lived in China was very similar, where once you get out of Shanghai and Hangzhou, which is kind of the delta, kind of the low-lying sea level area, it then gets into mountain range. You get into mountains and you have these, basically, this is kind of where I lived, was this. I mean, you had mountains both sides, you had a river, and then the city was kind of straddling the river, and it's just like that. And when we're flying, I think when we do our flight from, I think, Shanghai down to Macau, we'll actually fly right over where I lived in China. because it's one of the air routes.
558 heavy, continue approach.
And I kind of miss it. Now my wife loves it here in America because she especially loved it when I was driving over the road and we would drive through like Iowa and it was all just farms and you could see for miles. I love that too, where you can see for miles. And I actually like Iowa for that because there are rolling hills though. There is some landscape. You get out to like a Kansas or a Nebraska and then it's really dull. But it's a difference. I mean, the amazing thing where it's like you can go one place in the world, some places you got the mountains and it's one kind of thing, and then you go somewhere else and you have just the endless sight line because it is flat or slight gradual rolling hill. So really beautiful flying over and right now. What is that over there? That is I'm kind of guessing, but yeah, that's Matsumoto. I actually have I believe I have a freeware upgrades the airport there, which is pretty cool. At some point, we're gonna have to do some flights between these Japanese airports because there's a number of great Japanese freeware content creators. Cristiano Ronaldo, who's better, me or Messi? I always thought it was, for the longest time, I only knew of you, Ronaldo. You were the bigger name for a long time. Thanks for the subscription. Yeah, I don't know if it's an age thing, if if he's like I don't. To be honest, I don't follow football, or what we call here in America soccer, terribly closely. So I did have FIFA 19 or something, and it was fun. I mean, that's kind of how I have to get into it. Is I'd have to get like something like that and kind of learn that way, and then I'd be more into it. Kind of just an exposure thing. But that was always fun playing that, and I recognize some of the names, especially as they're coming over here and playing now in America in a Major League Soccer in MLS. Now we have Messi over there down in Miami. Abrahamovich? Probably getting his name wrong, but he used to be with Manchester United, I think, and now he's over. At least last time I was paying attention was with the Galaxy, I think, LA Galaxy. So, and I think that's a big thing happening in America is that you're starting to get some more exposure. We're starting to get some more exposure to football, and it's such a different thing. And kind of wrapping our heads around it, for me, it's like that's why something like FIFA or any game, like a video game version of it, where I can learn the different teams in the leagues and how it works, like relegation and all that. It's so fascinating because it's so different than any of our leagues here. And kind of how there's so much more movement also. It always seems strange to me when I see guys, they're playing in the Premier League and then they're playing in, their national league in their own nation, and then they're coming to the U.S. and I'm thinking, and for the longest time I always thought, why would they come over to the U.S.? The U.S., like, these are big names coming over now. Why would they come here? Because again, it makes sense when big names come over with baseball, because Major League Baseball is the top league for baseball in the world, and baseball's played a lot of places in the world. The NBA is the biggest league in the world because basketball, while it's growing around the world, still the biggest is America. Obviously the National Football League, the NFL, American football. I mean, the only real major league is the NFL. There are, I know there's obviously the Canadian Football League, and there's I think there's a German Football League now. But then with soccer, with football, the world sport, or cricket or rugby, it's so foreign to us here in America, and the way it's operated is so much different too, because usually I think even with cricket and rugby leagues, there's a lot of relegation, there's lots of levels. Whereas here in America we have baseball, right? Or take the NFL we'll take the NFL for example, American football. It's one level. There's only one level. And then we have, and back there is Takayama. And we're still, frame rate there, it still seems a little choppy, despite the frame rate supposedly being okay. Oh. But we have, so with American football, you have the NFL, National Football League. That's the pros, that's the professionals, that's the top league. Now, there's been various competitor leagues or leagues trying to get started to be maybe a second level or a direct competition to the NFL. You had the USFL during the 80s, which famously Donald Trump kind of ran into the ground. Or at least that's the legend. I haven't looked into it.
704,
you had the AFL back in the 60s, which eventually merged with the NFL. They joined forces, and that was kind of what Trump wanted to do. He wanted to kind of get the USFL to the point where it would kind of force a combination with the NFL, become part of it. I think you had the XFL, and we have the XFL. I think we're on the third or fourth iteration of the XFL. You have the second iteration of the USFL now, and both of them have been actually kind of successful the last couple of years. And I think what they're doing is smart. They're staying as a spring league. That's what the USFL was originally. So they're the spring league, so they're not directly competing with the NFL. And they're clearly kind of almost like a minor league. They're a tier down, right? These are guys who didn't make it in the NFL. But guys from these like the XFL and the USFL, are now getting called up to the NFL. They're getting contracts into NFL team. And so it's we're starting to develop kind of that system that you have in a lot of places with football and rugby and cricket and all these more worldwide sports.
From the cockpit. I hope all is well
But
with
it's
you and you
something
enjoyed
that still
flying
doesn't
with us
really
so far.
exist in America.
We've reached our cruising
I
flight
think
level.
the
We're
closest thing we
expecting to
have
arrive
is
on
the
time
minor
in
league
Khaan.
minor league
Progress is going very
baseball.
well. You'll hear from me again once we're about to start our descent. Thank you.
And the closest thing we have is probably minor league baseball. And again, minor league baseball, there's no relegation. It's you're the lowest level team. You're a mid-level team like AA, and then you have AAA, which is the highest level, and then you have Major League Baseball. And all those players on those teams are part of the parent organization, and they're younger guys that then go through their system on these teams. Where, again, the part that blows me away with like soccer and relegation is that you have a team that can be in the Premier League, and then I think it's the two worst teams, they end up in the next tier down, and you could really quickly in a few years go from the top league all the way to the bottom league. And your players don't like wholesale change. Now I would figure if you have a star player like Ronaldo on your team and then you get relegated down, Ronaldo's probably gonna, I don't know how that works, would probably want to be released from his contract and sign with another team, right? But it blows me away that, it's such a different thing than in America, where as a player, you're working your way up through the leagues. The teams are kind of permanent. Versus with soccer, you're working your way up through the levels, but your teams are working through the levels. And so you kind of, some of these guys, I would figure some of these guys, they could be in the top tier, and if they're not like a huge name, they could end up in a lower tier on the same team, and then have to, I guess, work their way back up to getting signed by a different Premier League team or something, or whatever it is. So that's where it's such a different thing from what we're used to in America. All right, you can see the sea coming up. The East Sea, or the Sea of Japan, cross over to South Korea. our last kind of, well, it's not gonna be our last view of Japan, but here we are flying. What city is this? Right now flying over Fukui. Alright, so let's get the so here's Navigraphs and here's our flight. Obviously Japan, South Korea, China, and Mongolia. Right now you can see different ATC areas. Obviously Mongolia it's its own. China's got multiple. Japan's got only one area. Same with Korea. And you can see our flight route looks a little strange. Well, why not just kind of go straight over? Well, you got North Korea. Probably. I don't know how many flights actually fly over North Korea, if any. Going up this way to go around and avoid North Korea, I would think is probably a longer flight. Plus, you have to then go over Russia, which means you're paying a little, that fee. Every country you pass over on an international flight, you're paying a fee. Oh my goodness, look at all these different, look at our TCAS here, look at all the different planes. We got 4 different planes popping up. Got some traffic in this area. We're still following, we still got that Lufthansa cargo. Pretty cool.
Proceed direct Sierra to the uniform and the Lufthansa cargo 8387 heavy.
Wonder if that is the Lufthansa. One of these are the Lufthansa cargos. But that was that one, that 8387 heavy that we saw taking off. Still, I guess we're still over Tokyo Center, so we're hearing calls. I mean, might not even be near us at all. So back into that route. So you can see that route. So every country you fly over, you have to have an agreement. And basically, I think every country charges a fee to the airlines for every flight that flies through their territory or over their territory. I don't know if it's a flat fee or if it's based on mileage. I would figure the flat fee would be the easiest, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So you'll typically see routes. That's why some routes look kind of strange. Well, why are they flying this way? Well, because they're avoiding that part, that little tip of a country that might be sticking out. So they kind of make this a weird course just to go around that, so they stay within over one country as opposed to crossing into another airspace. So that's what's happening with this flight. Is instead of going up and around North Korea, or obviously just over North Korea, we're going over South Korea and China. But we're only going over 2 countries besides our arrival country and departure country. So we have 4 countries in total. Now, if we were going over, obviously, if we were going over Russia, it'd be the same. We're going over 4 countries, but I think that'd probably be a longer flight, and they just don't want to take us over North Korea. Another part of this weird kind of route is once you hit China, China has some weird routing. And you can see there, even here I'm zooming in, you can see the routes, the airways, and there's not a lot of them. You see how they're kind of concentrated in certain areas. And in most cases, you're only allowed to fly on the airway. See how many more airways even this area has. But you see there's just kind of routing, and that's why I was saying, like, I lived in here, and it's right over an air route. that right there. Right over an airway where I lived. I lived right in there. And so all the planes were coming right through here because they couldn't fly anywhere else. They're not allowed. It's very strict. You must be on, in China basically you have to be on the airways. And so that's kind of what we're doing here. You can see we're on the airways, and we're on an airway. It's very strict kind of routing. Where really it would make more sense just go right here. Again, we're avoiding that airspace, so we'll probably come over here, but then it just makes sense to kind of go right up. Now, partly we avoid going into another another ATC area, also part of that. Yeah, very strict following the airways on our route, and yeah, nothing really direct. Hey, Falling YT. That's what's going on there. We're now over the, what do I call this? The Sea of Japan, East Sea, headed towards South Korea. And we're going to come in at Pohang-si and then go northwest over to Incheon, Seoul. And back over. Once we get into China, we're gonna come over Rongcheng and Guangdong. Fly right into Beijing. We're gonna fly over Beijing. So we got to fly over Tokyo. We're gonna fly over Beijing as well, which will be really cool. See how it looks. And then up from there into Mongolia. We do have some weather over South Korea, actually some severe weather, it looks like. In reality, we'd probably get rerouted around this. We'd probably reroute to the south with the way the weather's looking, probably down to Busan. The problem is that we don't have weather radar available, at least in this plane. If we were in the fly-by-wire, I think we have weather radar now, which is pretty